Hi guys, welcome to the podcast. My name is Cheptoek Boy and today we have Ty Ngachira. He is a comedian and a lawyer. Karibu sana, Ty.
Thank you very much.
So, Ty,
Yes.
give me a short background about yourself, where you're born and the schools you went to.
Wow. I was born in Yeri. From kindergarten. I'm from.
Yes. Why not?
I went to Valley View Kindergarten. I went to Monyeri Complex, also known as Nyeri Primary. Then I went to Kiambu High. Then I went to KU for bachelor's. Master's bado sijamaliza, but KU pia. Yes. Yeah.
So I know you're a lawyer.
Yes.
What made you switch from law to comedy?
It was just very circumstantial. I was working in an NGO. I was doing a lot of program work, a lot of civic education. And then I got a call to host a TV show around comedy and governance. And when I made the switch, I was like, yeah, I think this is what I want to do with my life. Yes.
Okay, interesting, kabisa. Now, do you still practice law?
Not quite, but what I do find myself doing is creatives use me for contracts, for reviews, for influencers come to me for a lot of intellectual property work. Yes. That's how I help them like that in that regard. Yes.
So what do you think are some of the challenges that comedians are facing right now?
First of all, I think economically, the economy is generally not in a good place. So if I have to choose between someone making me laugh and buying food, I'm going to buy food. Like comedy is a luxury good if you're going to spend on it. Another thing would be, I think the proliferation of the market, of where there's a lot of comedy that's available on the internet, makes it harder for stand-up comedians to call you to see them do comedy. If someone can just pick up their phone and see a random So and then the lack of differentiation between sketch comedians and stand-up comedians. Sketch comedians are the guys who do like small, like short clips for you on the internet, and you can watch and have a good time. Stand-up comedians are the guys who want you to come and let me make you laugh in person. So that differentiation is one that takes. So a lot of guys, because stand-up comedy is hard, before you start out and you go all the way, so a lot of would-be stand-up comedians end up being sketch comedians.
So you would say Crazy Kena is a sketch comedian?
Yeah, so Crazy Kena, Austin, Wololo TV, all those guys, they do an amazing job at sketch comedy. That's sketch comedy, yeah.
Now, when it comes to stand-up comedy,
Yes.
I know it's a very tough business.
Yes.
How do you deal with anxiety, especially before the show? Because every time you just have to stand in front of guys.
I always tell myself that I'm not anxious or nervous. I'm excited because the symptoms are the same. It's like it's not I have to do this. It's I get to do this. And so and I know there'll always be a good story. If I do well, fine. If I do badly, I'll say, hey guys, nienda huko mazee hakuna watu walicheka na watu waliangaliana tu. So it's I don't tell myself I'm anxious. I tell myself I'm excited. Yes.
When you look at the Kenyan comedy scene,
Yes.
what are some of the mistakes that you notice other comedians doing? You being someone that is already established, or we can say is above the rest in some way.
Okay, first I'll take the compliment, but one thing I'd say is, I think the process of time. Everyone wants to be big today, immediately, right? Two, I become good at comedy because it's a skill. You just get better over time. So and also like not taking it too personally. Like it's personal to you because you wrote it, but don't take it too personally when you have a bad day. Anyone can have bad days. It's just that with comedy, your bad days are in front of a crowd. With other professions, if you're an accountant, only your boss finds out. But with comedy, it's like, oh my gosh, I had a bad day. That must mean I'm not funny. It just means that joke was not good, or the audiences are bad. But don't take it too hard, too bad when you go up on stage and it doesn't work. Yeah.
Do you think comedians are taken seriously? Comparing with other careers?
No, I don't think comedians are taken seriously. I think for a comedian to be taken seriously, they're very much at the top of their game. because it's like your mom would rather hear you married a DJ than you married a comedian.
I think both of them.
DJ is bad. They're like, what does it do for a living? Anachekeshanga watu.
DJ, you can see
entertain. Comedian. And comedian is the only job you have to prove on the spot. Oh, how do you do a comedian? Chekeshe sasa. I'm like, no one ever goes to, you're an accountant, or tax zangu sahi. People believe you when you say you're an accountant. Comedy is the only place you're like, no. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Now, how much research do you have to do for your comedy?
Well, it depends on what I'm doing. For example, I have a show in July. It's called Millennial in Denial. So the theme is being a millennial who's growing older, and like you're kind of fighting the fact that you're now becoming older. So a lot of research has to go into that, right? If I'm doing roasts, it means I have to do a lot of, because a well-read comedian has more material to draw from.
Yeah.
And Kenyans are people who are very hard to make laugh if they've paid money. They'll tell you, you're a waste of my money. So, and that's fine if they have, if only they had that standard for government. But at this stage, you realize that a lot of research has to go to be a good comedian, because every audience is different. You can, when I've traveled outside the country, it's hard to make people outside your culture laugh. So the age, their belief system, so there are things you need to be like, okay, I actually like going to a comedy show early, in case I'm not the first performing, so I can see what works for them. So it helps me change what will work, what will not work. Just be on the lookout, like, okay. You can just go to like a group of moms and be like, what was it, Ali? I'm like, fam, no. You have to cater to your audience. Yeah. So a lot of research has to go to the audience, what they like, what they dislike, and so that you can also see their sensitivities from afar, and their triggers, and also their joys. Yeah.
You mentioned you've been outside the country. Yeah. Where were you and what were you doing?
Comedy. I've been outside the country to do comedy. I performed in Tanzania. I performed in South Africa. And mostly I'd got into stand-up comedy. Yeah. It was I represented Kenya in the Bloemfontein Comedy Festival. Yeah, I've done some shows in Joburg, and parts like Dar es Salaam. Yeah.
How is the Joburg scene?
It's so much further than ours. Like the South African scene in general, for them, their biggest comedians are stand-up comedians, not sketch comedians. In Kenya, our biggest comedians are sketch comedians, because I think when the internet came, people realized there's a platform. Like, it wasn't a closed platform. Like, to become a stand-up comedian in Kenya, at the time, it was really hard, because there was only like one platform. Like, you could only do it on Churchill bus. So, but when the internet became accessible to more people, it's become a devolution. So now so Kenya, I think our biggest comedians right now are sketch comedians. Yeah, but now in Joburg and Cape Town, when I went there, it was stand-up comedians are the comedians there. So like they and also for them, it's easier to make money per show. In Kenya, the amount of money you'd make per show is it's not, I'm not saying it's little, but it's not the same you make in South Africa. Yeah. And they have way more platforms. Like in one night, you can perform 4 places. Kenya, like, you can perform 2 at best. Yeah.
Are there topics that you won't touch when it comes to comedy?
It depends on my audience, but mostly, I think rape and pedophilia. I think those ones for me it's a bit tricky.
That's even cringe.
Yeah. So I'm not saying I can't. I'd have to go through it in a very tactful way. Because you see, a comedian, you can talk about anything, but it's the how you do it that shows you're a skilled comedian. Because, comedy is all about creating tension and then releasing it. So if such topics are very heavy on the tension, turn. So if you don't release it well, you're just now a weirdo. Yeah.
Now, you hosted Too Much Information. Yes. How did you get that show?
My dad is rich, he paid off so many. No, I'm not.
Nilikuwa nimekupea macho ingine, niko like
No, I got the gig because someone in the US was doing research on Kenyan comedians, and a show they wanted, and they interviewed me. They wanted a show that focused on governance and law at the same time that was funny. I just happened to be the perfect fit at that time. It was just what I used to do professionally versus what I used to do after work. And they just married each other and they were like, yeah, we may have the guy for the job. Yeah.
But the show came to an end. What happened?
Oh, my Lord. Remember the Me Too movement of the US? Yeah, so one of the executive producers got caught up in that. Yeah, and so they said they had to cut off all funding that was associated with him. Yeah, so sisi Kenya tukaumia makosa si yetu. And it is what it is.
Poleni sana. I hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then after that, stations, like a lot of mainstream media is struggling.
Yeah.
Financially, right? So they liked our show because it was we don't pay you, and you don't pay us, but we give you a nice spot and we take ad money. So as we're like, you just worry about funding for yourself, and then so that was so that issue came now when you're about to renew for season 2. Yeah.
So for them, it was like free content.
Yes.
While still plugging in the advert and making the money.
Yes.
But now that you're now responsible.
And now for us, we still get to have the rights to the show. Like, they can air it for 24 hours, and after that, we put it on the internet.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, on that show, you were talking, it was a political satire show.
Yeah.
Did you get any backlash from local politicians?
No, surprisingly, no. Well, the first time I got the backlash that we got was the first days of the show. Guys were like, "Kuni nani?" Like, what's this? Your pesa wangepatia Kingori afanye show yake. But it was the first few episodes. People didn't quite understand what we were trying to do. So they were like, "I don't understand what this is." Because we took the Churchill show spot, and that's a beloved person. Like, that's someone who's at their hearts,
and it's an NTV stable.
Yeah, so like when you take that spot, it's like only nani. Like, even before you could be the funniest person, but eventually people started really loving the show. Yeah.
Will we get to see in Kenya a late night show, like the Daily Show? The late night show with whoever. I
think we will.
Done in that big scale. I think now that this comedy space is booming.
I think we will, because a lot of guys are starting to do political satire by themselves, like on their, there's Justin Wanda does too much. You need to fake work with Justin. Sometimes I see Jugush dabbling into things here and there, and also like you get to see that it's just that who is willing to take the risk. Yeah, the problem we have is a lot of mainstream media is very they're dependent on government advertising.
Yes.
So if a show which is critical of government all the time is because I see the reporters are now doing it. We have the serious shows. So tell us, where is the money going to for Sirare Dam? Like, we still have that.
Yeah.
But now we need a place where guys can laugh properly and still be entertained. Yeah. So, but I think the hunger is there. We just need someone to take a risk. And be like, yeah, I'm doing it. Yes. Because
I think the politicians will give us limitless content.
Bullseye, people loved Bullseye, right?
Oh, I was a fan of Bullseye.
Yeah, so I'm saying like the content is every time I open the internet, I see people creating memes from politicians, right? So it's just someone needs to go and like, it's just that media doesn't want to pay people to do it. At its core, it's like people we've sent proposals like, oh yeah, we can do this show, and okay, yeah, next. So what you guys will pay is like, Apple, you guys will pay.
They draw the line.
Apple, that's So, but and also I'm seeing a lot of podcasts out. So I think when it happens, it might likely just be like on YouTube one time, and then that's how it's gonna happen.
You guys are roasting Ben Sol. Yes, what should we expect?
Tunamnyoa maizo madredi arudishe ile forehead yake inajulikana. No, it's I think Ben Sol is a beloved person. I think his journey is well known. Venye amesonga akafika penye yuko. So I think it's gonna be a good time with Ben Sol. And I think he can take a joke well. I see him laughing around. So okay, I only say that until we get there. Then I'm like, one up like, ulisema jina huyo ni mgani huyo? Your story of the door happy. Yeah, but I think he'll be a good sport.
He will.
Yeah.
I want to know issues to deal with copyright. Since you're a lawyer, and also in terms of syndication, now that this is the roast, and it's probably going to go to one of the streamers, are you guys being paid one-off, or will you earn residuals? Let's assume it goes on Netflix. Will you guys be paid? It goes on another platform on Showmax. Will you earn something as it continues to make its round?
Okay. Sadly, I will talk about it, but I've signed an NDA around it. Like, one of the contracts I've signed is not to disclose too many details of the show that I'm on outside of. So, yes, we can talk about it. Sadly, I can't. I would have loved.
But residuals, is it there?
No, I'm just saying. See, that's part of the. That's part of the.
Yani umeblock history.
Siku block mimi.
No, nasema contract ibe.
Hata ingekuwa alafu tukaambiwa. No, of course but now it's I'm professional in my work. Yes.
But as a lawyer, what would you want to see in this comedy industry in terms of earnings?
Okay.
What do you think is the best way to make money? Apart from just being paid a one-off, perform and go, what other ways can comedian?
First, even as a lawyer, you need to understand the business, right? And the business is like, as I go to this show, is it commercially viable to reproduce? So I have two choices. I say, I'll take a higher amount for immediately, and then I don't get paid any residuals if it's sold in US, or let's say I only get paid residuals if it's sold within 2 years, or I could say I'll take a smaller amount now because I'm seeing a larger potential of the show being. So that being said, it's I have to make a business. That's a business. Once you make the business decision, then involve the lawyer. The lawyer will not make. The lawyer can advise on what's the best business decision, but the businessman understands more. Will this show be aired well elsewhere?
Yeah.
You see, are they going to use my face forever and I'll be poor all the time, right? I could say, okay, nataka kulipa residuals higher. Wakuja waseme sasa hii pesa. Let's say I do a show on KTN, and KTN is going broke. Sindio, I'm not saying it's going broke. I don't work there. So part of me will be like, unajua ningechukua tu ile pesa ya kwanza na nisonge. The one I was offered.
Because they couldn't
exactly, because I say, like, we need to understand our market. Are those residuals happening? You see, yes, it's the big question of knowing your worth and what is the market willing to pay you. So if the market, if to me, I'm like, for me to appear on every show is 500, is if I want 500,000, right? And the market tells me, Ty, maybe that's what you think you're worth, but this is what we have. Now that's a business decision I'm making, not a legal one. But once you make that business decision, you have to be very careful to understand from a legal perspective, what does it mean about ownership?
Yeah.
You see, because actors themselves, the cast does not own the show, per se. They're seen, so that the ones when they're not doing well, wanaambiwa waona vile nilikuona hapa na pale. Because one thing we conflate in Kenya is we conflate fame and money. You see, being known does not mean being paid.
True.
You know what I'm saying? So I think we should cut Kenyan artists or whatever grace to be like, it's just a job they did. Kampuni kaanguka.
Yes.
You see, if I worked at Coca-Cola and I helped them, I was doing accounting for them. If you see me outside there, but Coca-Cola is thriving, don't ask me why. No, it's because I start working for Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
If we start seeing this as a job as any other, and realize that fame and money are not necessarily the same thing. But I understand why it's different for artists, because if you're making money from my face, I need to get some money. Say,
yes.
Yeah, but the thing is, I don't think our shows have that money yet. Like, of course, there can be like a one-off where it's like, I don't know, sugar, and it's MTV's bringing it everything, and like the backers of the show really determine how much you get paid. And for them, they'll come and give you a one-off and tell you, I'll see you. But often the one-off is so good, you're like, you know what?
It's worth it.
Do your thing. Do your thing. But on the other hand, is very few shows have sellability beyond a certain
point.
Yeah. Very few shows you can watch 3 years later and be like, okay, I really liked. There are those which have like sitcoms, but a show which is about the current affairs,
trending topic,
is hard to have for me to expect residuals
forever.
Yeah,
because they won't relate to that current time.
Yes. Yeah. So like even I always tell people, even as you come for legal advice, I hope to understand the business of it. Because me, I'll come to affirm what you've agreed business-wise, or I may advise you as how to work it out. Yeah. So if you're starting out, then maybe you just want a one-off. If you think the show is not going to, but if you know the show is going to make proper, it's going to do rounds. If it's a big company, now you can ask for residuals. Be like, okay, I can take a smaller cut at the beginning, but I'd like, because residuals means it's like almost like a kapat ownership kidogo. You have a kapat ownership.
Yeah.
Hivyo kila time shamba ikiuzwa unapata. People who get proper residuals is like artists more than actors. Musicians, it's easier to get residuals, proper residuals, like, because people can listen to music over and over. It's people cannot watch a show over and over. For a comedian, it's even harder because the surprise is an element of comedy. You can listen to the same joke thrice and laugh. So yeah. So me, for instance, I'm scared. Did we show a new person the joke? So me, I'm looking for new people, not new. But an artist is like, people are like, this song reminds me of da, da, da. They can listen over and over and over. But as a joke and a song are very different. A joke is like ha 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 ha, then ha ha ha, and ha. So we don't have the grace period of that. Yeah.
Do you write jokes for other comedians? And if so, do you charge, or how does that work?
Well, I do write jokes for other comedians, but it depends on maybe they've written a joke already. They want me to just help sharpen it. I don't think I'll charge you. In the industry, we are good. But if you literally have a show and you just want me to write jokes for you, we are going to. But I charge depending on how long the material is. Yeah.
So do you sit down with a comedian and then he tells you what the topic is about and all that?
And also finding out their style. You know, every comedian has a different. There's a comedian who's lively, will jump around the stage. There's a comedian who's very deadpan. So like we need to realize what's your style of jokes. So we sit down. I want a bit more chill. Even me, I can ask for help writing from other comedians. Say I have a big show coming up and I have enough time. So I can say I have an hour to perform, but I've only taken 20 minutes of material. Help me with, and then we can talk. We say, let me pay you this amount for yes. Yeah.
Now you earlier spoke about your show, which is coming up.
Yeah.
Is it only going to be Nairobi? Is it going to be countrywide?
It's called Millennial in Denial, and it's gonna be at Red Room.
Oh, down here.
Up at Red Room. We are, because last year I recorded a special as well that was called Being Kenyan. So it's that culture you want to create of where a comedian can come for a stage and just make you laugh, or now we can sell to Netflix, we can sell to Showmax, we can sell to whoever, right? Early in the year I'd done one called Wacha Niseme Nitoke. So that one was about the political space we were as a country and my experience in the protest, all those things. So this one is called Millennial in Denial. It's happening on the 5th of July. And it's first going to happen here. Then if it works out well, now we can travel outside the city. Because Nairobi is Nairobi ni kata ikuangi Kenya. You know, like Nairobi, the things that make people laugh in Nairobi.
Within a country.
The things that make people laugh in Nairobi are not the same things that will make people laugh in outside. That's why you see River Road vernacular musicians are not very well known in Nairobi, but they make a lot of money.
Yes.
Because their client is the rest of Kenya. Nairobi is like 10% of our population.
Yeah.
Everyone else has their own. That's why vernacular stations are not losing money.
No.
Everyone else can be losing, but then they're like, no,
they're not closing down. They're not firing. They're just cool.
Listen, I'm sorry for you, and I wish you well in your endeavors with ikizungu yako. But Patanisha will still call. Yeah.
Hey. Wachana now.
Yeah. So that one is if you learn to hack that market. I started writing Kikuyu jokes for people. So now I have Kikuyu comedians who are now asking me to help them write jokes for them. So I can see, and I realize they have a big potential there as well. So I think in our local languages, because people, that's the language of their heart for a lot of them. Like my mom does not come to my show. She's like, ukianza kufanya Kikuyu niite. Ama ukianza kufanya Kiswahili niite, you see. But that also speaks to how
so your mom might be actually a fan of the person you're writing the jokes for than you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you see.
The irony.
Yes, the irony. The irony. Yeah. So that's what I'm just saying. You get to a place where you realize that this is my audience, but me I don't want to just perform for Kenya. I want to go outside the country, so I can't just think here. Yes.
What would you say is your long-term vision for your comedy?
I feel like I'm on a date.
Why?
You know, when a girl asks you, what's your long-term
vision?
Yeah, like
us.
You know, vision. Like, I think it's going global. I think it's performing outside the country a bit more, getting to be known. We need more Trevor Noahs. We need more Demi Solindis. We need more because South Africa has established their comedy scene as the African comedians. The very Nigerian made themselves the African artists, song-wise. So we need that thing where Kenya gets their own importable comedian. Yeah, so we want to commercially viable importable comedian. Yeah, that's the long-term vision. Yeah.
Away from comedy.
Yeah.
Do you have a family? Married? Dating?
As of this interview, I am not married to anyone. I don't have any kids that I know of.
Why do guys love saying that part?
It's because we've grown up at a place where we attend funerals and suddenly it's like, yo,
they check it.
Yeah, and you're like, yeah, and you know what I'm saying. You know the kids you can't do that.
Yeah.
No, but no. Honestly, no, I'm not married. No. Do I plan? Okay, I'm saying I won't plan having. In this near future, there is no plan for me to get married. I don't want to say I'll never get married. Hopefully, I will one day. But I'm saying right now, I don't have a family. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, lastly,
yes,
your advice to guys who are looking up to you, and they're like, "Hey, one day I'm gonna be a Thai."
Okay. First advice: look higher, and not in a bad way, because if you limit yourself when you look at this person, maybe you look at the things they have done as the goal. But if you look at them, eventually they'll disappoint you. All your heroes eventually disappoint you. But if you have your own goals you're trying to work towards, I think you'll be fine. Yeah, so don't be like, I want to be like Ty. Say I want to do what Ty has done. Yes. After that, it's now easier because if I'm the bar, one day I'll have an opinion you don't like. One day you'll hear something about me that irks you. So just think of, professionally speaking, don't stand me. Stand the work. Then it's easier for you to move. Yeah.
Nice advice. And thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much.
Until next time.
Until next time. Yeah.
Thank you guys for watching. See you guys on the next episode. Kwaheri. Nam subscribe, by the way.